Now we come to our discussion of the 4 target structure drilling techniques that I want to outline: shadowing the target structure, patterning around the target structure, transforming into and out of the target structure, and dictation. One of the challenges of making this series is that these 4 techniques don't really occur in isolation. A big part of drilling target structures effectively has to do with feeling where the class is and what they're responding to, and shifting between these techniques or layering them on top of each other in a way that keeps the students engaged and challenged. I'm going to try to frame our understanding of how these 4 techniques fit together in terms of 4 analogies. Think of dictation as being analogous to a bridge. For transformations, think of a barbell as an analogy. For patterning, think of a set of Legos. For shadowing, think of a baby's rattle. The performance target for shadowing is very simple. Get the students to hear a sentence spoken by you and, without reading or translating, say it back to you with something approaching authentic rhythm, melody, and pronunciation. Is that the only thing you want them to be able to do? No. But if a student can't at least mimic the structures you are teaching, then there isn't likely to be much else that he or she can do with those structures. To get there, think incrementally. 1. Establish the expectation that when you call on an individual, you will get a response of some kind. If I suspect that a group is new to target structure drilling, then I will start with some structure that I know that they know, like, for example, this is a pen, or even I am Kento. Something that I know I can get them to say out loud. And then I build upwards from that. I didn't have to do that with the kids that you see me teaching in this video, because the teacher from whom I borrowed them to make this video had already tried some target structure drilling with them. But even in this case, with this particular class, I didn't start right away with the actual target structure. I used something that I knew that they had studied 1 month prior. Here, you see me trying to first draw the familiar structure out of the kids by putting a few clues up on the board. Tom is. Yes! Everybody, Tom is older than George. Tom is older than George. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Tom is older than George. It is very important that you get as many of the kids as possible responding to you, that you create a culture in the room of the kids being expected to respond to you. In a sidebar video, I'm going to discuss some principles of getting the kids to respond. 2. Expose the target structure. Again, the best thing is if you can find a way to elicit the structure from them. Here, you see me doing that by using a poster that I designed ahead of the lesson. My mother, yes. And who is this? My mother is saying what? Yes. This baby's name is Sally. She said this baby's name is Sally. My mother. My mother. My mother.
My mother. Name. My sister. Sally.
Yeah. Say it. One more time. My mother named my sister Sally. 3. Push for ARMP. Authentic rhythm, melody, and pronunciation. This is their chance to get the structure sounding the way it's supposed to. They can learn how it is supposed to look on the paper from their Japanese English teachers, But if they're going to be able to speak it, only you can bring it to life by adding that dimension of sound. If they are only mumbling it in katakana, then as an oral skill, they aren't really learning it. They'll never understand it when it's spoken to them in a real-life situation, and they'll never be able to produce it in a way that makes sense to a native speaker. A final note about concerns that you might have about riding the kids too hard. This is a drill. In the case of the 2 lessons that I taught to make this video, the target structure drilling took 15 to 25 minutes. And yes, it was in those 15 to 25 minutes that I really began to perspire. This is work. But it was only 15 to 25 minutes of the whole time. I shifted gears into a fairly involved listening activity through the middle of the lesson, then returned to the target structure drilling at the end. So, while you are drilling target structures, yes, it should be exhausting. It should be work. If oral communication class is going to be downtime or otherwise unchallenging, then we as foreign teachers can never expect to charge any kind of premium for the services that we offer the schools. And we can never expect the schools to see us as any more than garnish. If you want the kids to be able to do something at the end of their relationship with you that they were not able to do at the beginning of that relationship, and if you are a teacher, that is something that you want, then one way or another, you need to challenge the students. In the upcoming sidebar video about getting kids to respond, I'm also going to discuss some more detailed thoughts about pushing ARMP. Here is my son Dana at almost 11 months, still being riveted by this object, which is one of the first things that he ever took an interest in. Some things that appear to have no moving parts, when you shake them, make a sound, while other things make no sound. For the next several months, probably years, this peculiarity will simply be one of the unfathomable mysteries of Dana's universe. A rattle presents itself as a contained unit, but points beyond itself towards so many things yet to be learned: acoustics, momentum, inertia. Similarly, a well-chosen target structure lands on the ears at first unanalyzed, an indivisible idiom. For example, chocolate makes me happy. Without teaching the grammar explicitly, this sentence implies so much about the verb make and what kind of words can accompany it. It dangles in front of us the notion that chocolate can somehow have agency. The adjective happy starts to look not like a static descriptor, but a phase that one might go through, which circles us back around to the semantics of the word make. A person can make a cake, a dog can make a sound, but somehow the chocolate is making me. How's that? And so on, like Dana's fascination with the rattle. In order for my son to be interested in the rattle, I don't need to talk him through all the reasons why the rattle might be interesting. I just need to present it to him, to shake it in front of his face. He'll grab it and begin teaching himself. The rattle is not the be-all, end-all of Dana's education, and shadowing target structures is not the be-all, end-all of what you ought to be doing with the kids. But it's how you can bring the entire class back to a common focal point, a reminder that there's something specific that they are learning, and that they are in it together, orbiting that focal point.
The doctor called the monster Frankenstein. Good, do it for me.